Introduction to Jyotish, The Art of Vedic Astrology, published in May 2017 by Singing Dragon. Although the book's been written in a fairly informal style, it's also been packed full of astrological as well as astronomical information. To make the book more approachable for the reader, I've broken it down into 5 sections. This begins by looking at some of the technologies in the ancient world, including, most importantly, astrology. In the section I call Setting Up Shop, I give a rather detailed account of Ayanamsha. One tentative translation of Ayanamsha might be a measurement of the solstices. This critical measurement will determine how many degrees will need to be subtracted from the tropical zodiac. When implemented, Ayanamsha then determines the 0 degree of the zodiac, or, to put that another way, it becomes the chart's foundation stone. For it is that calculation that everything else is based upon. It is this point that has made Ayanamsha such a hotly debated topic over the years. It is also one of the more controversial subjects in Vedic astrology. The question surrounding Ayanamsha is something that's interested me for a very long time, and so in this book I really decided to sit down and try and get to the bottom of it, if such a thing was actually possible. And while I don't claim to have solved the mystery, I think I've certainly shed a lot more light upon it. To aid the reader through the complexities of the Ayanamsha issue, I've provided many illustrations throughout this section. These, I hope, will help to explain how some of the more popular Ayanamshas have been arrived at. Understanding planets is one of the main keys to unlocking the power of Jyotish. To this end, I have provided a series of planetary portraits. Starting with the Sun, I cover important aspects of each planet, including their temperaments, their aspects, their colours, their caste, their friendships and enmities towards other planets, and finally, some important astronomical considerations, which may or may not have contributed to the qualities we now commonly associate with each of the planets. In conclusion to this section, I would also like to add that all planets have been arranged in accordance with a celestial court, whereby the Sun occupies the position of king, the Moon, queen, Mercury, regent, Mars, commander-in-chief, Jupiter, court advisor, Venus, court advisor, Saturn, servants, and finally, the lunar nodes collectively are given the role of the king's army. Signs and houses in Jyotish. In the section on signs or rashis, I discussed the 12-fold division of the heavens. This mathematical division is deeply rooted in the world of the occult, the number 12 and circles being intrinsically linked. For the most part, the characterization of the signs between the Western and Vedic model is quite similar. However, there are subtle differences. It is these differences and subtleties of interpretation that I deal with in this section on signs. This section is concluded with a brief look at the houses in Vedic astrology. The subject of house systems in astrology could fill many volumes, and, much akin to the Ayanamsha quandary, are not without some level of controversy. To this end, I have reproduced 3 diagrams. Each diagram shows the same horoscope, using the rules specific to that house system. Hopefully this will allow the reader to get a clearer understanding of house systems and how they're affecting the horoscope. In this book there's a significant section dedicated to medical astrology. The principles of India's indigenous medical system, known as Ayurveda, predominate in any astrological consultation which centres upon health. Ayurveda's Tridoshic system, that is, Vata, Pitta and Kapha, are key to understanding any health imbalances within the body. This applies not only to signs and houses, but also to the planets themselves. When current states and strengths of planets are factored into the equation, along with lifestyle, exercise, dietary considerations, and seasonal regimes, Jyotish can become a powerful tool in establishing a balanced, healthy lifestyle. Although part 4 of this book deals almost exclusively with nakshatras, I've titled this section of the book Lunar Curiosities. This is because from an earthbound perspective, the moon is so easily observed. Its waxing and waning, its periodic eclipses, and its monthly journey across our skies. For this reason, the moon became extremely popular in mapping the heavens. Perhaps one of the most important aspects of Vedic astrology is its use of nakshatras, also called lunar mansions. These 27 nakshatra roughly mark the daily increments of the moon as it makes its journey around the Earth. During a nakshatra day, the moon will traverse something like 12 to 15 degrees of the heavens. It was these individual portions that became important to celestial sky watchers. It soon became noted that the moon in a particular nakshatra produced a specific result. Due to the swiftness of the moon's orbit, these results could be checked monthly. Interestingly, the ancient classics say very little about the solar zodiac. Indeed, the signs of the zodiac are hardly mentioned. This would seem to indicate that of the two systems, the nakshatra-based or lunar-based system is the more ancient. And finally, it also appears that much like the zodiac, with its related body signs, the nakshatras also display correspondences with the body. These too can be used in medical astrology, although due to the appropriated light from the sun, the effects of the nakshatra purusha, or nakshatra body parts, tend to be far more subtle. In the fifth and final section of the book, I've concentrated on remedial measures. After all, having been told all these wonderful things about your horoscope, you would hope that astrologers would be in some position to alleviate malefic effects produced by troublesome planets. These might be caused by conjunction, or by aspect, or by a confluence of aspects. There are many reasons why a planet might become difficult in a chart. Sometimes a client may ask the astrologer to strengthen a particular planet, one that's already outstanding. In such cases, remedial measures can be said to fulfill a dual purpose, not only strengthening weak planets, but enhancing strong planets too. This science of pacification is extremely popular in countries like India and Sri Lanka. I don't think I met anyone there who wasn't wearing some kind of astrological amulet. In the West, probably one of the most preferred methods of planetary propitiation is the wearing of gemstones. However, in countries like India and Sri Lanka, the use of a personal yantra seems to be on a par with that of a gemstone. In the book, I detail a good number of remedial measures. These include such items as rudraksha beads, different types of yantra, special types of dried herbs or roots, alchemical ash or bhasma, gemstones, and even metals which have planetary associations. By and large, one of the most effective ways of alleviating planetary suffering appears to be the use of yantra. These can come in many different varieties, sometimes cast metal, sometimes inscribed copper sheets. There are innumerable designs. Some yantra are designed specifically for one planet, while others cater for all 9. Finally, in summing up, I'd like to think this book is somewhat unique. Firstly, by dedicating quite a large section to 2, perhaps less popular subjects, such as ionomtia and house systems. But I'd like to think in some ways I'd made them much more approachable. After all, in the back of my mind while writing this book, I was thinking, how would I like these subjects explained to me? And how could they be explained to me in such a way as to capture my imagination? Secondly, the book covers all the essential basics of Vedic astrology. Combined with a profusely illustrated text, the book also contains many classical references, along with exacting diagrams, and a highly useful quick reference guide. And lastly, and not least, a great foreword and endorsement from the Vedic astrologer James Braha. Thank you, James. If you've enjoyed listening to this short presentation on Jyotish, the art of Vedic astrology, perhaps you might enjoy my other presentations, Rasa Shastra, the art of Vedic alchemy, and Hastareka Shastra, Vedic palmistry. Please look out for these other videos, and thank you for listening.